Morning, everybody. I'm Talking History Games, and welcome to stream number 2 of my graduation campaign series. So, for those of you who missed part 1, which I might actually need to go back and edit because apparently there was monetized music on there, which is actually why there's no music now. Let me go and set that up. So, I'm not totally sure if it's something that was in the music controller, so I'm just gonna actually go to like good old reliable or something. Soundtrack, just go to one of the older soundtracks. Do I want to do E4? No, not E4. But where's that? The Rome Universalis one. That one should hopefully not be an issue. Here we go. Songs of Europa Universalis Roma. So that should be better. Let's see here. Hey there, William Blowers. Long time no see. Hello, Nicholas and Kaden. Some nice new profile picture, William. Boozmon's like, where am I going? Am I gonna stream? Let's say, yeah, I think to be on YouTube you have to stream these days if you want to be viable. What I will do, I hope you guys won't think I'm being too pensive or antsy or something, but I'm gonna sometimes be keeping a lot of things close, little that's way too loud. A bit tighter to the chest. But my plans are essentially I want to make a channel that hits 100,000 subscribers. Just so I can have that trophy to hang up of my time working. And I know I could have, if years ago I had decided I wanted to play the game, the metaphorical game, when it came to how I made Hearts of Iron 4 content, that probably would have been more possible, but I just never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be... I'm not going to name channel names, but I wanted to be somebody who actually played the games. That's all I'll say for now. And let's move on, because this is an unproductive area of discussion. So, here we are. Actually, I shouldn't call this graduation year. It should be graduation campaign. Speaking of which, I'm probably going to, I don't know when, but at some point this week, I'm going to go through and update update the descriptions in these videos. And I also want to change the thumbnail, because I was actually seeing one of the wallpapers for Kaiserreich when it was booting up. And then I'd seen one I'd never seen before, so it must be new. There's just like a party, and there's people, people dress nice, somebody's giving a toast, and it was really quick because it booted up pretty fast. Kaiserreich, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, Kaiserreich definitely seems to have improved its kind of running time, lag time, whatever you want to call it. Obviously they must have been talking to the Equestrian War Team. Wow, congratulations, Guzman. Very good. Congratulations. So what we're going to be doing today, what I at least want to stream through, is I want to at least get to the election. So I thought that we would actually just break down what is the situation here in 1936 politically in this America. So we've got the various political party, the political party ideologies here, that being totalism, syndicalism, radical socialism, social democracy, social liberalism, market liberalism, social conservatism, authoritarian Democrats, paternal autocrats, and the National Populist Party. So, the America First Party representing the National Populace. But you see, in Kaiserreich, you have your genres, so to speak, but then each individual country kind of has its own, not kinda, it does have its own versions, its own specific political party that is attached to those ideologies. Now, the United States of America, under its current constitution, is very famously it heavily encourages a two-party system. Now, it doesn't talk about political parties in the U.S. Constitution, but because of how first past the post and the Electoral College and other factors work, there tends to be. I mean, there's only in reality two political parties that could be viable in any given U.S. election. Yes, there's a history of third parties in America that's very interesting. The Republican Party started as a third party in reaction to like the Whigs dying out and stuff like that. The Republicans were a lot of factors coming together. So one of the things that happens with a two-party system is they by necessity they are big tent parties. So you've got a lot of people you'll have factions inside of the big party label. So for example, to use modern political parties, the Democrats have a subsection which is known as the Squad here in the United States. Incidentally, don't ask me where that name came from because I don't have a clue. And that tends to be the people who are from more left-leaning, progressive districts, and they elect representatives accordingly. So the most famous Squad member is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's from New York City. Well, that doesn't narrow it down. New York City's got like 11 districts, but how many districts does New York City have, actually? Let me look that up. How many congressional districts in New York City? Wow, I was not even halfway. There are, oh no, that's the state of New York. I'm trying to find the city of New York. Okay, so the city of New York has the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 16 looks to be outside the city limits. Oh no, 3 and 4 are also are. So, oh, I was right, actually. So it's 11. There's 11 congressional districts in just New York City alone. So anyway, Hey, Franchan, does it mean I'm quitting like a whole live VTuber or something more literal? No, it's quitting like a whole live VTuber. Great to see you, Franchan. Talk about people who, I would never have been able to do as much or have as much fun without people like you, Franchan. So great to see you. But yeah, I'm just going to be moving on to somewhere else on YouTube. You guys will hear me one day, I hope. So I'm not being taken out back and shot. Don't worry. But anyway, so we're talking about these political parties. And then like on the Republican side, it's kind of a defunct example, but like the Tea Party used to be an example of like, how you'd have these factions within the greater, Big Tent Party. And so that's reflected here when we look at the political parties of the United States of America in 1936. So we'll start from the top. You'll see that the Socialist Party is listed 3 times because it is... And by the way, y'all let me know if the music is too loud. I feel like it is still a tiny bit too loud. There we go. So you've got the totalists, syndicalists, and radical socialists all lumped together. So what the game is indicating here is that even though these various factions only are a certain percentage of popularity, so for example the Totalist Party, currently led by Browder but could eventually also be led by Foster, is basically defunct. It's a non-entity because it only has 2% of the popularity, which is the same as like people who are like, yeah, the military should run things, which is about 2%. But collectively, if we take the 2, 18, and 5, we're starting out with a 25% popularity in the United States. And of course, that's going to probably be concentrated around the Chicago, New York, just this whole strip here, this, the Rust Belt extending into like the mid-Atlantic states area here. That's where we're going to mostly be seeing our pull. So for example, if we look at Ohio, we have low Socialist Party of America control and stuff like that. So you take care. Thank you so much too, Franchan. Take care as well. Um, so that's the Socialist Party of America. As we move a bit to the right, we get to the Social Democrats. Oh yeah, Franchan. Yeah, the I actually am also so proud of that Moe Order Super Events video. I was watching some of it yesterday. I really liked it. They put so much work into that. The music, the quotes, the art, portraits. What a great mod. What a great mod. So anyway, the Social Democrats, who, as always, the whipping boys of the Kaiserreich universe, because the three party ideologies to the left just sees them as servants of capitalism and you know the old ways, the old systems of like monarchy and all that. Then everybody to the right hates them because it's like, oh well, they're just still communists, so F. So there's 8%. Incidentally, we were talking about party factions. So Minnesota has been in the news a fair amount recently. And up there, I believe at the state level, it is still officially the Democratic Farmer Labor Party that runs the Democratic branch of Minnesota politics, like the state, like the actual infrastructure and organization. That's my understanding of how it works up there. So also like who's the one who ran for president? Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar, I think officially, I think she's still in office. Let me see. Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar. She's one of the senators. Yeah, so I'm looking up, I'm Wikipedia. Amy Jean Klobuchar is an American politician and lawyer serving as the senior United States Senator for Minnesota, a seat she's held since 2007, a member of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party, Minnesota's affiliate of the Democratic Party. So yeah, so she's officially not a Democrat. She's a Democratic Labor Farmer kind of thing. So that's an example of like, the smaller groups that can be within the two-party system. So they are 11% popular, or at least 11% of the country would like them. Or no, excuse me, no, that's 8%. I got confused. So 8% farmer labor. So if we were to somehow get them to work with us, that would bring us up to a total of 30, let's see, we're 25 plus 8, so we'd be at 33% of the electoral vote. Or the popular vote, I should say. Moving on, we have the first branch of the progressive Democrats. So these are the social liberals, and this is a reflection of where the Democratic Party was in the mid 1930s, because you had these people who were social liberal. We can call them like the New Deal Democrat. People who would be African American, or they're union workers, or women, etc., things like that. Floyd Olson, farmer labor guy. And then you had the other kind of Democrats, which were the conservative Democrats. So this is more, think, former Confederate states, pro Jim Crow, socially, that's what it's called, socially conservative. And so this is again the big tent at work. Well, you'll have people who you could be somebody who works in a factory somewhere in Western Pennsylvania, and you're voting Democrat the same as some guy in the sweaty heat of Mississippi who doesn't want integration. He's also going to the ballot and going to vote for the Democrat. So because neither of them prefers the Republican. Although that's of course going to change in the South once the Civil Rights Act goes through. And it's actually because of this Big Ten thing. This is why in our own timeline, Franklin Roosevelt became, he literally just kept getting elected and elected and elected until he died, because he had just this enormous tent of support, because he could get the Southern Democrats, he had New Dealers, he had the women vote, he had the black vote, academics liked him, just all these various groups of people. And so, like, how do you beat that coalition? You don't. You can't. And so that's why you get 4 terms of Roosevelt. Let's see. The difference between the Republicans and Democrats is even more confusing. The original timeline, because FDR and the New Deal never happened. And this is pre-Nixon Southern strategy. Yeah. Yeah, you're tracking. Yeah, but another thing that you also have to remember is that a lot of the Republican wave of the 20s in America is because it's coming off of the back of World War One, where it's like, okay, we sent our boys over, a bunch of them died, nothing seemed to have actually been accomplished, so we're not a fan of that. And then there was a bit of an economic whiplash as well. You had the post-war riots, both working riots and race riots, and so that's why when the Republicans were coming in the 1920s, post World War One, and the elections, that's the catchphrase, right? A return to normalcy. It's like, don't we all just want to turn the temperature down? So without America being in World War One, it is a little bit. That is a good point. Like, how do the Republicans get into office if Wilson just kind of coasted for another 4 years and didn't have those issues? It's a fair point to bring up. But you see, ultimately, all alternate histories, they're just fantasies, and as I've said, we're here to role play. We're here to role play. I forget, did I ever do a Hoover run in like Kaiser Redo where Hoover just like, I held on, baby, I'm back. He manages to win the election and also wins the war. Hoover also would be less. I wonder if this makes me wonder if in this universe Hoover still becomes famous for helping send food aid to Russia, which was dealing with post World War One and the Russian Civil War. Like his work that he did through that and with others. Just a thought. Okay, so yeah, we're still going down that here. So speaking of the Republicans, so the Republicans are one of the most popular parties at the moment, or in the list. So who we are playing as, we're at 18% popularity, which is below only the one branch of the America First Party. So, but obviously it's less than 1 in 5 Americans are happy with this current administration. Let's see. Alt history is almost always a modern lens at a historical timeline. Our current views are always all over it. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good general rule of thumb for any sci-fi. So 18% for the Republicans. If they had formed a coalition ticket where you brought in the conservatives, the progressives, and maybe the Farmer Labor Party, you'd have, let's see, 8%. Plus 11, 19, 27, 30. You'd have 40%. You got this 40% block of people in the middle. I mean, depending on what you classify farmer labor as. And then moving on to the right, you've got 3% of America Firsters who are authoritarian Democrat, 2% who are U.S. military, and then 20% is the hard far right America First Party. So these are like, this is like the Huey Long chunk here, except for just these two, not really the military so much. Although there are paths where you can do paternal autocrat after breaking away as the AUS. So it says that we have some out-of-date equipment here. The Farah. Oh yeah, this is the one of the cruisers or something, right? Is out of date? Yeah, this is an out-of-date cruiser that's being built. I mean, none of these are going to get built anyway, so who cares? So we'll get rid of that. Still no divisions in basic training, and the missing equipment production. Yeah, just once more deleting all of those because we do not need them. The Austrian Empire has withdrawn from Italy. That might be good for our future ally, the Socialist Republic of Italy. Italy becomes such a mess, though. Every freaking war, Italy. I just hate fighting down here. It just gets like, the only thing that's certain is eventually the Papal States always get crushed by one side or the other. But it gets nasty. And as I said, I'm going to be working under the assumption that we're not gonna get Spain. If we got Spain, that would be so huge. Like, Spain is one of those countries that it kind of feels like when they're on your side, They don't contribute a lot, but if you don't have them, it becomes a pain real fast. And most of that comes down to geography, I think, because if you're the Third Internationale and the Carlists are down here working with the Entente, suddenly you've got a whole lot more land to push through, and what the Kingdom of Spain then becomes for the Entente, although yes, I know the Entente will typically have Portugal. In fact, are they in there yet? No. Portugal will probably join the Entente. But it's just a huge, big space that you could funnel armies through. So when the Entente is in control of Spain and you're the Third Internationale dealing with them, the problem isn't the Spanish armies. It's the problem is that the Dominion of India starts sending 100 divisions through the area that can be supplied because there's good hubs here. Yeah, it's so nasty. Just or like it's nasty in a different way compared to Italy because as Nicholas says, it just becomes this ugly stalemate. It's just so mountainous and every tile counts so much. And my God, the river here, oh, what a pain. I think I once had done an Italian Republic live stream where I finally broke through though at the river and I was like, gotta take land while I can. If I remember correctly, I went down to Genoa and started doing a naval invasion, and I was doing the naval invasion down here into Sardinia, and I wasn't even done messing with the Socialist Republic, but I was just I gotta grab land anywhere I can, Oh, paper went flying here. What is this? Oh, yeah, I don't need that anymore. Okay. So that is the political situation in 1936. Nobody, even if you were to form some sort of coalition of ideologies, no one's got that 50% that's needed to break through. And so what we're going to be doing, because this is, of course, a combined Syndicates of America playthrough, is we are going to play it we're role-playing, right? We're role-playing an America that starts to support the CSA. So as we play as Hoover, we're going to be making choices that you're going to like antagonize and strengthen the more extreme elements in society. So we're going to see the America First get stronger. We're going to also see the Socialist Party get stronger. And we'll see as the events pop up because they always sometimes are adding new events. So we'll see how I play them out bit by bit. Oh, like right here, these are the two big extremes. No, definitely not going maximalist. No way. No totalism. I've already done a totalism campaign, which was quite fun. Boy, I got sick of people going, say it louder, we want Browder. It says, okay, I heard you the first 20 times. Louder! But that's how totalists be, That's how they do. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Long and Reed. So Nance Gardner is technically running in this election, but who gives a crap, So it's really Hoover, Long, and Reed that are the three main leaders we're going to be taking a look at here. So, as expected, the early challenges to the Gardner-Wagner bill have come from the AFP and the SPA. Huey Long and its AFP senators have demanded a vast increase in the Social Security provisions the bill provides, provisions most other senators say America could never afford. Jack Reed and the SPA, remember SPA, Socialist Party of America, say the bill doesn't do enough to protect the average worker, particularly from exploitation by struggling corporations. Both parties have attracted a lot of media attention, adding to the general sense of disorder and tension in Congress. Interesting. You know what, actually, before we really get going here, I am just going to, I forgot to grab water, so I'm going to mute for like a couple of minutes here so I could fill up and whatnot. And in the meantime, take in Europe. See what's there. Or actually, has China popped off yet? No, they haven't. So in the meantime, I guess just take in Europe, see what's happening. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Guns blazing. Yes, that is a good point. I really should make some sort of community post. Uh, yeah, I'll try to remember to do that later today. Because see, basically the plan is I'm going to stream for hopefully a couple hours here, um, and then maybe let's see, because my evening is definitely not. I'm not going to be able to stream tonight at all. I will try to find, if not today, definitely tomorrow. I will take the time to type up a community tab. I'll try not to. I'm gonna tell myself, don't I need to make it weepy sad, not weepy sad, but like just like make it really really nice and I just need to spit it out there. People don't need to read an essay. So let's be careful about talking about that kind of stuff, Guzman. I don't think it's productive in the chat. Alright, yeah, so now China was blowing up. Yeah, so there we go. Of course, I suppose we would want the Mingnan insurgency to win. Legion of Irregulars. Yeah, man, China is freaking fun to play in. So much of Kaiserreich is. So much content. You did a lecture on Tolkien's work? That's pretty cool. That's great. I like how much it's been... What would be the word? Wait, prepare to intervene. Oh, in Cuba! Okay, well, what's going on here? Hold on, we'll see what's going on there. But like, I remember I once went to a lecture this woman gave on, she was talking about The Hobbit. That was really great. I remember, I had been told about that by somebody I was dating at the time, and she was doing that. She was doing that thing of like, oh yeah, I gotta treat my boyfriend like he's a little fucking. Sorry for cussing. Like I treat him like a kid, but like, oh, he's got hobbies. What a child. But he's got things he's interested in. You know what I'm talking about? That attitude. But we went, and it was like this actual professor giving a lecture. The discussion was, I mean, it was fun because we were talking about The Hobbit, but it was like serious, talking about themes and concepts and meaning. And then afterwards she was going, it's like, wow, so like that's actually for real. Yeah, there will one day be a Oxford World Classic edition of Lord of the Rings, and what a wonderful world it will be. All right, so there is a socialist revolution in Cuba. I don't think I've ever seen this event actually, and it's a prepare to intervene. Are we about to get crazy here? Dire news arrived from Cuba today after weeks of instability, and despite providing the Cuban military with ample equipment and training, socialist agitators have overthrown the Cuban government. Worse, many American-owned plantations and other enterprises have been taken over by socialist hooligans. Already, the staff and Marines at our embassy in Havana are readying themselves to evacuate at a moment's notice. Anything must be done to stop this madness. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, right? This is a role-playing game, right? So, right now, we are playing the role of Herbert Hoover, and the question is, would he intervene or be diplomatic? And this is tricky, because, and obviously, it's like you make the rules are made up, the points don't matter. What is the play here from Hoover? Because obviously there's issues going on here at home. But, good old rally around the flag. He's obviously not a socialist. He would not be happy with this. American business interests would not be happy with this. Plantations are already getting seized. He's a Republican president, and yes, I know about George W. Bush in Iraq. I lived that. But it's Democrats who usually send America into war, into interventions. Wilson did that with Mexico. Depending on whether you think that Vietnam started in the 40s or in the 60s, either way, Truman and Kennedy and LBJ are all Democratic presidents. FDR in World War II, of course. I feel... What would he do here? I think we're gonna try to intervene. Because yeah, this is I mean, 1936 our world. FDR would come in and we're being the friendly neighbor, but I would say we, for those who don't know, I am American. But if my mutt of an accent couldn't let you know, as opposed to, oh, he doesn't speak in received pronunciation, does he? Yeah, World War II, we were attacked first. Yeah. No, I know. I'm just thinking weirdly. I think I'm not trying to say, oh, the Democrats are warmongers, you know, because there's the opposite effect as well. Iraq ended under second time in Iraq for the United States ended under President Obama. Afghanistan was I shouldn't talk about who ended Afghanistan because like everybody's it's so. I think go watch my Eternal Flame campaign. I think I talked about this. It's amazing how everybody's like, I want to get out of Afghanistan. And then we get out of Afghanistan. No, not like that. So, like, the entirety of America is, like, in this schizophrenic mindset of we shouldn't have been in Afghanistan. It's like this triple schizophrenia where I'm talking about most Americans, and I know these issues are complex, but it's like, we shouldn't have been in Afghanistan, and we need to get out of Afghanistan, but we got out of Afghanistan bad. But even though we had got out of Afghanistan bad, it's the politician I don't like's fault. So you know what I'm talking about? Like if you're a Democrat, you're like, well, Trump's the one who negotiated the exit, and if you're a Republican, you say, well, Biden's the one who pulls us out, and it's like, but we also don't want to be there. And again, I'm speaking generally, but it's the schizophrenia of the American political mind. It's why the whole world tunes in whenever we have elections. You gotta watch the show. Nobody's tuning in internationally to watch who has boring elections. See, I don't even know because they'd have to be so boring. I don't think about it. Like some country you don't think about. Dang it! I'm going like I'm running through. I'm not speaking out loud, but yeah, Russia's got boring elections. Yeah, people die and it's still boring. Yeah. Oh, Spain! Yeah, Spain! I never hear any crazy stuff in Spain, but like it's so funny. Like I'm like I wasn't speaking out loud there for a second, and I'm just scanning the map with my eyes, and I'm like, Philippines? So my brain was just going like, Philippines? Question mark. Wait, no, the drugs. It's super exciting in the Philippines, and they elected Pacquiao and honorary Mexican as somebody who's grown up in a border town. Manny Pacquiao is an honorary Mexican. See people. So anyway, yeah, I think we're going to intervene, and let me say why, because I think for storytelling purposes that would be really interesting. Like imagine like think of it. We're playing through something that has already happened. Oh yeah, Japan elections are boring as hell. Hold on a second. Let me explain my Cuba thought process here. So like imagine if we were looking at the history of this world, America intervenes in Cuba because there's a socialist uprising. And then over the course of the 1930s, the second American Civil War is going to break out. And of course, CSA is going to win because we're controlling them. And then we end up, because if Cuba isn't socialist, I think they almost always will join the Reichspakt. So they're going to join in against the Germans. So then a now socialist America invades Cuba to overthrow the government that the earlier non-socialist American government had put in to put down a socialist revolution. That is a fascinating bit of history. Oh my gosh, you would have... Oh man. Oh, that sounds really neat. Yeah. But geez, what if we're still at war with them when it breaks out? But let's at least start moving people to Florida-ish. Whoa, what is this? We cannot sit idly idly by as American blood is spilled on foreign soil and liberty is extinguished. An embargo has already been declared on Cuban goods, and obviously we must directly undermine the new Cuban regime. But how? I don't know, a coup, but let me hold on. Let's do a save here. We're gonna call this Cuba intervention, and see if we can trigger a war here. But before I do that, so who was it that? Yeah. So it was pointed out in the chat. Japanese elections are very boring, and I wish I could find the book. I must have. I don't know. I think I probably gave it to somebody because they were taking the same class, but. I once took a class in university that was it was something for government, something it was political science thing, comparative governments, I think. But one of the countries that we were particularly focusing on was Japan's political system, and Japan has what I think is called. I mean, not so much. It's not as bad as it used to be, but what's sometimes called like a 1.5 party system, where there's only one party that's actually in charge constantly, year in and out, and then there's just the opposition party. So the thing with Japan is they burn through prime ministers at a really rapid rate, and in fact, I'm pulling up right now. In the let's see, roll qualification travel. I'm pulling up here we go, the list of prime ministers of Japan. So let's start with like we'll go to like 1948-ish. So basically there is only it's mainly the Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP or Jimito party that runs things in Japan since 1955, and so it's called the 1955 system because there was this period of like 40 years straight almost where they were in charge. It was just always them being in power, and they'll just only get out of office for like a couple of years and they're right back. I was like, okay, no, 20 years. So the prime minister, though, because the LDP has, again, we're talking about factions within a Big Ten party, they can never really get a majority together. So the prime minister will be chosen, and then he'll piss people off, and then he's out, and it's just somebody else. It's a rotating seat. So, like, if you look at the history of the LDP prime ministers, it's really, really hard for them to even reach 2 years in office. Or like 3 years. Like there's one I'm looking at here, 65 days he was in office, December of 56 to February of 57. And so the book I had for this class that involved Japanese politics, it had this Mad Libs thing where it just said the current Japanese prime minister's name is, and then insert name here. He is blank years old. He is, and it was just like this funny little thing, and it said, by the time you're reading this, by the time this book goes to print and you read it, Japan will have a new prime minister. So we're not going to talk about who it is right now. It's not like we're, in America, when somebody's elected, you could reasonably assume, oh yeah, if I'm writing a book about this person's going to be here for 4 more years. Okay. Yeah, Tifa got railed in front of the Italian Senate. I remember that happening. Apparently the artist who made the video was, I guess, asleep in his or her time zone, and people were bombarding them on Twitter, and that must have been quite a thing to wake up to. All right, so I think we're going to try to do a coup here. I want to trigger a war, if possible. Maybe it's not possible. Paramilitary militias are forming. Here, you know what? I'm actually gonna skip these for right now, just so I want to see what's gonna happen with the Cuba situation. Yeah, so we're just ignoring this, and then I'm gonna go back and load the save file. I just want to see what's actually gonna happen here. Oh, nice. Horner got elected. Wait, what? The Syndicalists took Australia? immediately truced with Afghanistan. Oh, oh, man. What if that's not going to happen, though, now when I reload the save? Oh, but that is... I like having Australia on our side. Ooh, if Australia's on our side, we're going to have to get involved in East Asia. We might have to liberate China and Japan long term. This would be after World War II. This is going to be World War III right here. Yeah, since I guess Russia went socialist. Wait! Oh, what? Alexandra Kollontai is in charge? I didn't know she could be a leader. God, oh, man. I am... You leave Kaiserreich for a year, and they change everything, but it's cool. Wow, so this is a really interesting, like, feminist, Marxist thinker, who's got this quote I'll read after this, but let's just kind of read her here. So Alexandra Kollontai, which is pretty sure this is an aged up picture of her. Let me actually hold on. I'm gonna look her up because I think she died. So basically she was a Russian revolutionary. You know, kind of like a right hand woman to Lenin, in many ways. I mean, the wife was anyway. But I think she died in the 20s in our timeline. I'm checking that. No, she lived till 1952. So yeah, she's still got 16 years to go. She's just fine. Never mind. So I guess I was thinking, like, isn't this? I guess because whenever I see pictures of her, it's always when she was younger, because they're like from around the revolution. So that would have been 20 years earlier at this point. So Australia tends to flip around a lot. Yeah, they can. There could be like some coups that happen. Gee, I think actually when I did my introductory guide to the Australasian Union in for one of my old Kaiserreich guides, that was the only one I've ever done that was over an hour. Oh, hey Nestor, yeah, that was classic. Hey, I told people if I get 5,000 subscribers, I'll read the manifesto, and then I did it. I'm like, I don't even remember who the heck was that other. There was like some other big YouTube channel at the time, but he kept saying, "Oh, next I'll read the Communist Manifesto with the next one, and the next one, and the next one." And he just never did it, and it's like, shit, dude, you got like 200,000 subscribers, and you're lying to people. I'll do it for 5, and yeah. So anyway, let's read about this woman who's working with us in the future. So, champion of feminism, plus 10% political power gain. Dang. Recruitable population factor 15%. Better recovery rate. Oh, they're definitely making women's battalions, more of them in this timeline with that. But hurts the stability though, and compliance growth speed minus 5%. Yeah. Vaush. Is Vaush the Belgium? Wait, Vaush. No. Vaush? No, isn't that a dude? Oh man, I got a friend who he's into those kinds of people. Isn't Vaush some like leftist Twitch streamer? Geez, gotta be careful. Let's tread carefully here, everybody, talking about modern politics. But like, I feel my friend has told me about that guy he's like really disgusting, and apparently there's a conspiracy theory that he's not actually a leftist. He's a paid guy to pretend to be one, and slander that ideology from within, because he's like, he'll say stuff like, I mean, if an age of consent is that's just an implementation of government control over people's personal lives, and it's not right. It's like, what the fuck, And he's like some fat ass too. Anyway, he had his homework folder leaked. I've got a funny folder joke, but it would take too much explaining. Anyway, so let's read about this woman. So basically, you get more political power and more manpower because, yeah, that 15% is probably the women joining the army, the higher percentage of them. Um, so born 1872 in St. Petersburg, Governorate, Russian Empire. I hope we talked about her father. Alexandra Domontovich, marriage name Kollontai, was born to a liberal cavalry general from whom she inherited an interest in history, analytics, and political reform. Her leftist sympathies began when she was sent to Western Europe to distance her from a relationship with a poor fellow student, and she started reading into radical leftist literature during the exile. During this time, she became an ardent supporter of women's rights and trade unionism. These views of hers were further driven towards syndicalism by her lover, Alexandra Shayapnikov. Hold on, I'm going to look this one up because this name is familiar, but it's not. I'm not getting the ding ding ding. Alexander. Spelled what? Sheil. APN. Who's this? Russian Communist Revolutionary metal worker and trade union leader, remembered as a memoirist of the October Revolution. So he left a memoir of the revolution. This guy. Oh gosh, this guy's a lot going on here. Death and legacy. He got purged. Not killed, but he got purged. Oh no, he was, yeah. Executed 37. Oh, it was his wife who got imprisoned. Yeah. Okay, so I'll read more about him on my own time. Anything's radical leftist literature. Oh yeah, but anyway, that boss guy, does he play Hearts of Iron 4? No, I'm talking about somebody who was a Hearts of Iron 4 streamer who kept saying, yeah, I'll read the Communist Manifesto on stream if I hit so and so amount. Which is like, probably didn't do it. He probably was not literate. Anyway, oh, but I can read this. I mean, can you though? I think there's a lot more illiteracy running around just in the world in general than people want to talk about. But anyway, our coup in Cuba has succeeded, and a new government led by General Martin Diaz has been established. Diaz, however, despite our benevolence towards him, has refused to return land owned by American citizens and companies which were unjustly seized by the socialists. While this is obviously a betrayal, it may be best to drop the issue and accept the monetary compensation Cuba has offered instead. With Diaz at the helm, Cuba will surely be stable and receptive to our diplomatic endeavors. What should be done? Okay. We could restore relations or pressure him to accept. So it's going to happen either way. I'm going to pressure him to accept. But yeah, whole freaking reason we're here is this. So we got a paternal autocrat running Cuba, which means more of a mindset than an ideology, and paternal autocratic governments sometimes explicitly denounce ideological partisanship, often calling for a strong, wise leader such as a king, general, or cleric to protect and guide the people. Its domineering nature has not prevented practitioners from holding sway over the masses. Oh my gosh, D&D character idea. Military junta cleric. He's like, yeah, you have like a semi-fascistic cleric. He's like lawful evil or something. Or maybe neutral evil? I don't know. Yeah, paternal autocrat. Would that be neutral evil? Okay. This is what AI is for. If the robots are so freaking smart... No, I was about to... Okay, I'm going to ask... I've opened up some ChatGPT in the other line. I'm going to ask it. Match Kaiser Reich's political ideologies to D&D character alignments. So we'll see what it says, and we'll argue if it's right or not. Okay, it's taking a long time to type, so let's keep going. That's a pre-Vatican II cleric in Europe. Oh, okay. So Cuba refuses its refused demand for control of property seized by the former socialist government. The State Department has been sent scrambling to find some solution to the problem, and overwhelmingly the recommendation is to simply come to terms with the new Cuban regime and focus on developing our relationship. However, some also assert we should threaten the Cubans with direct intervention, or perhaps even immediately intervene in the country, which option is preferable. So we could do intervention now. All the the NATO memes, intervention now. When people just put some like wubs, that funk, a boom boom, a boom boom. Cuba refuse America. Intervention now. Okay, yeah, so Pope Pius XII was elected as Pope. Hold on a sec, St. Patrick's Day flood. We're gonna have to reload this, by the way. Yeah, the NATO edits, people going, all the pacifism. It's just, the memes of all the pacifism leaving my body as soon as I see some men in uniform marching to a funk beat. Okay, taking control. So now we have the Progressive Party, the Progresista, are in charge under Clemente Vasquez Bello. Success. So, what the heck did they think was going to happen? It's like, okay, so Cuba. The Cubans seize our plantations, so we approach the generals and say, we will coup. We're gonna work with you to coup the government so we can get these plantations back. And then as soon as the coup is over, they say we're not giving the plantations back. What did they think was gonna happen? We've been working together for like 5 days. I will find a backup. What the? Ooh! Pop it back. Yeah, a whole amendment in the Cuban Constitution. You're right. Okay, so, So, we're going to organize the coup, which is going to cost us political power. Whispers, nameless coup. And some amendments that should not have been forgotten were lost. Okay, so let's check back in on America and get away from Cuba. Ooh, you know what I need to do at some point? I might even do it live here. I was curious about something, and I was thinking I was gonna now that the Olympics are over, I wanted to pull up the list, and because like I don't know if you guys are aware. Apparently, the Cuba and the United States tied, but not Cuba. China and the United States tied in the gold medal count. Of course, the United States, we blew it out the water on the overall count. But according to China actually won in the gold medal count because they're counting, or I guess some people are counting Hong Kong and Taipei, aka Taiwan's gold medals as China's medals. And so that kind of made me think, I want to add up how many medals all the Caribbean countries got to kind of see like if there was a hypothetical, the West Indies Federation, the Greater Antilles, whatever, or I mean the Antilles Association, how would they have done on the overall medal count? I mean, we know. Wait, hold on. What we got here? It's Trinidad and Tobago. Where's... Anyway, sorry. Thinking of flavor. Let's... I made a long list of dumb jokes I want to make in your stream for 5 months. Oh, jeez. Well, then space them out. Let's get back to America and go and see what's going on here. So, with violence and instability sweeping the country, the AFP and SPA have begun to form various paramilitary militias, which they claim are necessary to protect the people. The AFP have called their group the Minutemen, while the SPA has named their forces the Red Guards. Seen patrolling their strongholds and party rallies, these well-armed and equipped paramilitary units have already engaged in scattered, though extremely violent conflicts. We believe the paramilitaries are modifying civilian firearms, and the FBI's attempts to seize weapon stockpiles are too slow to stop gun runners. This would turn very bad very fast. This is not good. Yeah, so this is, of course, referencing, like, you had the paramilitary groups like the communists and the Nazis in Germany. That was a thing. The freaking, what do you call it? The Grupo Colina in Peru. Brazil has those dudes who, like, wear their army boots and pants and then shirtless, and, like, they're all, like, old and flabby now, and they're just marching. They're like doing a little jog, doing left, right, on left. But they're chanting about how Brazil won't be communist. It's well, that's nice. They found something to do on the weekends. Okay, so the Pebble Institute, great name, says paternal autocracy could be neutral evil, lawful neutral, neutral even, lawful good, depending on the autocrat in question and the circumstances of the rule. Take an absolute paladin king with sworn divine oath, for example. That's a good point. Well, let's see what Chat GPT has to say. So, number one, totalism. Okay, it gives reasons for each of these, so I'm just going to list what it says, and then if anybody in the chat wants me to read it out, what the explanation is, I will. So it goes: totalism, lawful evil; syndicalism, chaotic good; national populism, lawful neutral; paternal autocracy, lawful neutral; social democracy, neutral good; market liberalism, chaotic neutral; authoritarian democracy, lawful neutral; bourgeois democracy, which is their term for liberal democracy, it's lawful good; integralism is lawful evil; and anarchism is chaotic neutral. But you see, this is classic ChatGPT, don't know shit, never trust it with anything. Integralism is not one of the major Kaiserreich ideologies, Yeah, Pat Odd is apolitical strongman. Yeah, exactly. Just law and order in the truest sense. Let's see. Natpot, lawful neutral. Yeah, just... okay, so... let's keep moving as the paramilitaries form. All right, big political moment happening in Washington. After weeks of negotiations, a number of establishment senators have I'm sorry, I've got a little pain in my throat. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm back, guys, but I'm gonna be coughing a little. I had some habanero sauce, like a roasted thing. Hold on, I gotta hawk a loogie. Okay, I'm back. Woo! You know when you feel it in your belly. You know the heat of the pepper. Warms the body, gets the blood flowing though. Woo! All right. So we're gonna support. You know, we're role playing. We're Hoover. Why would Hoover work with AFP? Why would Hoover work with the SPA? You know, I don't feel that there's a motivation there. This is Father Coughlin. He's talking about how he's just doing his anti-Semitic thing. The Jewish bankers, whatever. I think what would happen here is we'd say we're gonna, he's got the right to say what he wants to say, which does not make radical socialism or national populism more popular. It's gonna happen either way. But it's going to lower the stability in the country. And so, stability is always bad in Kaiserreich's like stability. Kaiserreich, never the twain shall meet, or never the two shall meet. Although I do have long-term plans to get this thing up. In fact, because this campaign probably will go quite long, I am expecting to hit the 1948 election. Probably hit the 1950. No, not the 1952. I don't think it would go that long. I think at that point we're the wars are over. But to long term get that stability up. Rebuild. I think a big theme is going to be about rebuilding America after the war. So let's see. Long and Reed are both furious. They've reacted with fury at President Hoover's endorsement of establishment senators vowing to sink the Garner-Wagner bill. The public's being deceived by a corrupt government which refuses to recognize the reality of America. So the Democrats and Republicans, though, have gotten a little bit more popular, but as you'll notice, Minnesota is now going to become more socialist, and North Carolina is also going to get more into the AFP ranks. So this sort of stuff I really like, how there's multiple things happening where, okay, you got a bill passed. Now, if it was the modern day, the Democratic and Republican supporters respectively would be, tweeting, you see somebody's getting something done. I don't see Huey Long getting this bill passed, or whatever. And so over the whole country, yes, there is a rise in popularity of the what would we call them, the in-house parties, right? But in North Carolina and Minnesota, these parts of the country which are not feeling the effects of the so-called the Great Depression's ending, we're getting better, it's fine. They're becoming entrenched in the more radical options. Woo, sweet! We still got the syndicalists taking Australia. Very good, very, very good. Let's check this out. So, the recent election in the Australasian Confederation saw victory for the Labour Party, led by John Curtin. But within days after his victory, radical elements within the Labour Party rose up and took control. These radicals are loyal to the Australasian Council of Trade Unions, the ACTU being the most prominent syndicalist faction in the Antipodes. I think it's pronounced Antipodes. In hiding since the Melbourne Commune uprising of 1924 and the subsequent suppression of unions by Governor General William Birdwood's government. The coup has left the nation in shock, with syndicalist loyalists already taking to the streets across Australasia to prevent demonstrations and outbreaks of violence. So, just popped up that world tension. Whoa. Excuse me. So, okay, we have a pope dying, which is a pretty big deal. All Christendom mourns the death of His Holiness Pope Pius XI, who died following a heart attack after having been in declining health for the past several years. Something was rapidly worsened following Black Monday. The Holy Father will soon be interred with the rest of his predecessors in the tomb of the popes. Until the next pope can be chosen, the papal state will be ruled by the College of Cardinals in Rome. The succession of His Holiness is made all the more important due to the Catholic Church's role in governing the reborn papal states, as well as its vehement opposition to syndicalism, a force which has divided Italy and seeks to once again unify the Italian peninsula. How terrible. Arthur Horner got a TCU chairman, which is good because I don't think that they're technically connected, but I swear anytime Horner goes TCU, we get like radical socialist Norway. So that would be really good for the Second World War in terms of opening up this kind of northern front here. And oh boy, when these two go at it, because Sweden just, I don't know if Sweden's just programmed to always go into the Reichspakt or what. But yeah, Arthur Horner, I think this is really good. Yeah, pretty, 49% of the Honoristas. The 1936 Trade Union Congress in the Union of Britain was made out to be decisive. Chairman Tom Mann declared his resignation, causing the three major factions in the Union, Maximus, Autonomous, and Federationist, to butt heads over the position. And as the dust settled, Arthur Horner, the current Welsh secretary, has been chosen as Mann's successor. He and his establishment, Federationists, are in favor of keeping the status quo, a position getting harder and harder to maintain in this changing world. Yeah, they might do the rare Nordfed. Nordfed is very rare, so I'm not counting on that. But we got this naval devotion here. That's nice. Union of Britain. Man, I never did do a Union of Britain campaign, did I? Did I? I think it crashed. And okay, so this tree is not how I remember it. He's Welsh. Yeah, just makes me think of how Watame is a Welsh leader in in the Moe order. It's like, geez, dang, the Welsh sheep looks like that? I shouldn't have been making so much fun of them. Okay, so yeah, we were going to dismiss those. All right. And, I was going to read about Horner, but, I feel like we'll learn more about our allies once we start, our future allies, once we actually start to get more involved with them. Because, I want to build the cast of characters that are in this world. Speaking of which, we talked about Canada. Oh yeah, Cuban Q. I'm gonna pressure him to accept. But then let's take a look at what Mexico is up to. So Mexico is currently a radical socialist under the PNA. So radical socialism in the game, so there's so often umbrella terms used because it's kind of like the way it works with the leftists, the kind of true trinity, we'll call them, of leftism in Kaiserreich. Because remember, the Social Democrats, they're always like on the outside, nobody likes them. The radical socialists are basically, if you're not a syndicalist or a totalist, you are by definition, and you're on the left, you're by definition a radical socialist. So it's a very, very broad and umbrella term, officially defined in the game as encompassing a broad array of revolutionary leftist governments, and these factions reject political reformism within reactionary structures as the ultimate means of changing the status quo. The diverse strains of radical socialism can range significantly in belief, but share a common desire to see a drastically different future than what the old order had to offer. So whereas like the Social Democrats, the bourgeois Democrats, as it was said, there are people who are like, no, we need to change things, and we're going to do it within electoral politics. Like, the machine isn't broken, it just needs to be tweaked. And then radical socialists will typically be more, no, we need a new machine, because this structure doesn't work at all. So we need a new one. But what that new structure is debatable. So that's where you get things. But certainly nobody would ever say Zapata was not a radical socialist. This is it. This is all they've got written about him. A fucking paragraph. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. And I mean, I hope I didn't offend the Kaiserreich team. I guess because Zapata, he gets replaced pretty quick, right? I haven't played Mexico in Kaiserreich in quite a while. But okay, Emiliano Zapata, hero of the Mexican Revolution, achieved victory in Mexico's 1932 presidential election. Since taking office, he has promoted the development of Mexico's collective farms, ejidos, and through political compromise, fostered closer diplomatic ties with the Commune of France. Zapata, however, faces strong opposition from other socialist factions as well as remnants of the old regime. Yeah, what even established the synarchist coup? I think I did synarchist and junta runs as Mexico. I didn't actually do leftist run at any point. Or if I did, I don't remember it. But Mexico, I guess, they didn't want to, maybe they didn't want to flesh out Zapata. Or it probably does more in world, but just because he's like a hero, like it says, he's a hero of the revolution, which at this point would have been almost 20 years earlier. Punic Wars with Dragons. Yeah. All right. Cuba refuses intervention now. Send in the Marines. All right, so we've got our new pope who has been elected here. The Catholic faithful in Rome breathed a sigh of relief as the Sistine Chapel's chimney billowed forth white smoke, signifying the election of a new pope. A short time later, it was announced that the pious and popular Eugenio Cardinal Pacelli had become His Holiness Pope Pius XII, leader of the Catholic Church and head of state of the Papal States. It is anticipated he will continue the policies of his predecessor, whose pontifical name he has taken. Good luck, Your Holiness. So let's kind of just take a little closer look at him too. By the way, yeah, there's just actually, we do need to talk about this pop-up here, but just to take a look at the 12th, he's got great spiritual fervor, renowned for his piety, strong authoritarian streak, matched only by his desire to protect the people. Yeah, but I don't, gosh, you want to talk about ancient, I don't remember, I didn't do the Papal States after they redid Italy. Remember Garibaldi's Nightmare? I did Sardinia, though. Think. So, let's talk though about these congressional bids. So, 1936, it's an election year. So you've got the primaries before the election itself in November. So it's essentially trying to find out who are going to be the main two people running off in November. Although it wouldn't be a runoff, actually, now that I say that. But essentially, who are going to be the major party nominees heading into November? And while there have been a number of lawmakers from the America First Party in its brief life, particularly in the South, the 1936 election has seen an unprecedented number of people registering to run for office under the banner of the AFP, and just as many, if not more, nationwide, pledging to vote for them. So what this means is that the kind of America First contingents of our system here, of the political breakdown, they're going to all get a 2% boost in popularity because of this. But what I also wanted to show is how underneath you'll see the America First party gains political power, and you see how it says the Louisiana AFP, the New Orleans AFP, etc., control will be increased. So what's happening is in these various areas, like if we click on North Texas here, North Texas, the AFP control is low. We click this, check again, it's now medium. And that was happening even in areas where there was already, which is like I think Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's now medium. Uh, and it's already at high in Louisiana because that's where Huey Long's from. He was like the dictator of Louisiana. I think I've talked. I think I've said this a million times, but when he got elected senator, some aide of his was talking about, okay, so we need to start organizing the special election because he was already governor. Is that we need to organize a special election to replace you? And he goes, what? But they elected me governor, so no. Yeah. Hmm. All right, so let's keep it moving here, man. The piggy bank isn't just cracked; it's turning into ash. Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's see what happened. Surely everybody had a good time on that day. On March 16th, warmer than usual temperatures led to the melting of large amounts of snow and ice on the upper, how's this pronounced? Allegheny and Monogalea? Look, I'm from the western half of America. I can't pronounce these, half these. I could do like Chickasaw and stuff, but it's a little difficult. So they overthrow their banks and they were threatening the city of Pittsburgh. On March 17th, the waters reached the flood stage of 25 feet. Overnight, heavy rain caused the water to rise even higher. On March 18th, the water peaked at about 46 feet, 21 feet above the flood stage. This is the worst such disaster in the city's history, and local authorities have already requested federal aid. So are we going to help the people, or are we going to say they're going to have to help themselves? What we're going to do is we're going to say, you know what? Gotta take care of that on your own, man. And because we're trying to take decisions that make the stability worse. Like in terms of role play, like this is the country is like it's one thing after another, stacking on to themselves, leading to the moments that the historians will go back and say, that's when it went wrong. That's when it went wrong. As it just the markers. So people will say, yeah, remember when that flood hit Pittsburgh and then the government did nothing? I mean, that's what killed George W. Bush's popularity, was when he bungled Katrina. Freaking, like the Iraq and Afghanistan things, those were slow burns. People were slowly, turning against him. And then Katrina, boom, it was over. And then, the Great Recession happened as well. 12:25 the time. Been streaming for an hour 22. Oh, it's like I'm gonna blow my nose. Sorry, I didn't unmute. Flashback to where are we at? 4/20 March 1936. Isn't that when? No, 36. It was in 37. Okay. So yeah, the Kanye West thing is, I have a friend who, and it's so true what he said, how there was the famous when Kanye West said George Bush doesn't care about black people. My friend always says, you never saw another telethon after that. The telethons stopped. Although I do think I saw one. It was like for like autism or something. On one of the. And I'm talking about something that was like on a big network. Thing. Oh, but hey, it's time for the 9th International Congress. Socialist delegates from around the world are gathered in and around Paris. Hey, Paris Olympics are this year too. For the latest congress of their movement. The Third Internationale was created by French socialists after the 1920 revolution and has since helped steer the efforts of the labor movement. Dominated by syndicalists, the Internationale, however, intends to be a broad tent organization and thus welcomes Reds of all stripes. Delegations were greeted by a military parade and a rousing speech in Versailles, clad in red for the occasion. At the top of the agenda is the spread of revolutionary fervor, particularly to Asia and North America, conflict in Spain, policy on colonialism, and requirements for membership of the Internationale military alliance. An interesting development. By the way, did anybody see Gojira? That open, man, I hope they do an official version of that Akaira, that French Revolutionary song. Because let me tell you something about that song. That song sucks. The bit, like at least the versions I usually hear of that, where it's just, you know, it's just this, it's this. I don't know. It feels like there's a weird hoity-toity-ness, and maybe it's period accurate. Maybe it's just a French thing, man. You know, it's like you have to have your nose in the air when you sing, and so you can look down on everybody who's not French, and they're just. But that, you know, is so great. And like, I'm a Gojira fan. I literally have, so I've got one of those, you know, I have a water bottle, and I'm a Gojira fan, is what I'm saying. But they're so great, and I remember a friend of mine only introduced me to them like a couple of years ago. But yeah, the way they okay, somebody else came up with this, but it's so true. That was a Death Clock concert, basically. Like that's it's so parody. Like okay, so we're gonna have the Olympics opening ceremony, and we're gonna play metal, and we're gonna have the band set up at the palace where we put Marie Antoinette on trial, and they're going to be, you know, hanging out the windows, and then there's going to be a bunch of Marie Antoinettes holding their own heads, and they sing, and they're in the windows, and it's just freaking metal, and we're going to have a woman coming out on a ship singing what is it, was it Carmen, and the And just, you know, Joe freaking he's got one of the best. No, there's so few people in metal who know how to scream, you know, but good, not what I just did. Like Joe Dupinar, whatever his last name is. It's French, I can't pronounce it. But and then they shoot the blood out the building. Like, that is a Death Clock episode. Oh, like, you know, burning all the electricity in France, do it at night too, you know, to have a thing. Okay. So Legation Council, I'm just abstaining from this. The Legation minigame, I probably should just learn it, but I'm not too big on it. It's like, yeah, just like the Navy, I don't really think about it. Alright, the Marines are in Havana. Our gamble succeeded. A small contingent of Marines is taking control of Havana with the support of the Cuban Progressive Party and established a new government. General Diaz and his ilk have been arrested and await the decision of the new Cuban president, Clemente Vasquez Bello. So this guy, nice bow tie, dude. What is this guy's portrait trying to say? So Clemente Vasquez was among President Machado's closest confidants. Damn. That's the thing about betrayal. It never comes from an enemy. And the president of the Senate for most of Machado's tenure, and despite many close calls, survived multiple attempts of his life following Machado's downfall. Unlike so many of the old Liberal Party, I'm supposed to say of the old Liberal Party, Vasquez held fast to the authoritarian model for the presidency established by Machado. Thanks to American brokerage of several informal deals with General Diaz, Vasquez returned to Cuban politics after only a short stint laying low in the American embassy and quickly found his feet. As president, Vasquez continues to emulate his older mentor, and many Cubans find his rule to be nearly indistinguishable from that of Machado. Progresista! Okay, good. And so it's gonna be funny when later Cuba is gonna like join the Reichspakt, and then we will invade them to reestablish the or to change things. Let's see. Realistically, would Germany have a reason to support the Union State while dealing with Black Monday at the same time? I think the first bridge Germany would have to cross would be if they have how much of an incentive they have to get involved. Period. I could even imagine them, if they were going to send help, they send it in such a way that I think economic aid, where I don't know. It's a tricky. It depends on. I think a lot of it depends on how's Black Monday going in Germany. Because, like, they'd get involved at least economically, but there's tiers to the involvement. Like, what's it going to take? When are like 2 divisions of the German army getting on a boat and getting out there? Because Black Monday hits, and then everybody in Mitteleuropa starts saying, "Whoa, I don't know about this deal here." So like right now, the Reichspakt is strong, but is the recovery going badly in Germany? Is Ukraine breaking away and declaring independence? Like it's what's the temperature like in Europe to determine, are we going to start sending money, guns, German soldiers to go die in America to help one faction or the other win? Obviously, you don't want the combined syndicates winning. I think if I feel in proportion to how strong the CSA was getting, that would also be a factor. Because Germany, in this timeline, you got to remember, Germany, even though they instigated the Russian Revolution, they also then helped put it down. They intervened. That's where, like, canonically, at least my last understanding of the canon, canonically Hitler dies putting down the Reds in Russia. Yeah. No, I know Caden Hall. I'm just kind of thinking. I mean, we can talk about this. We're all talking about this. Who should support who? Why? All right, so voting commences on the Gardner-Wagner bill. Voting has now begun, with Congress divided between AFP, SPA, and establishment senators. Whether or not the bill will pass is anything that's certain. Even if the bill passes, the question of where its funding will come from remains without an answer. However, if it fails, the consequences will be disastrous and widespread violence can be expected. So, again, I think we want more instability, but also just look at this. Let's say you got every single one of the centrists in, so you get the conservative Democrats, progressives, and the Republicans. So that's going to be 39%. Maybe you get all of the Social Democrats. You're still at only 45%. I think, the government literally didn't do anything to help anybody in Pittsburgh. It's how are you going to get people to start breaking from the entrenchment on the left and right? I think this bill gets shot down. And we're going to see the concept. I mean, because the numbers show that. So I think we just have to unpause. There we go. The Gardner-Wagner bill failed after an incredibly close vote in Congress. The Gardner bill failed to pass. While several groups are declaring personal victory, protests have broken out in various parts of the country. There will be no relief for the American worker, and many have declared the government to be corrupt and dysfunctional. There will be considerable time for blame, but for the moment, the Hoover government's concerns must turn to the growing violence throughout American cities. Violence which is expected to only worsen in the months leading up to the election. All that for nothing. So we're going to lose 100 political power. We're going to lose 10% base stability. We're at minus 38 right now, by the way. And then both the America First and Socialist parties of America are going to start growing more powerful. So like, for example, Iowa. Look, Iowa, nothing there. All right, let's just look at all the states that are going to be affected. Louisiana, New Orleans, Oklahoma, Northern Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, Southern Texas, Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York, Minnesota, and Iowa. all of those are now like they're running to the left or they're running to the right. And you know what? I would be willing to. The thing is, I'm not a horseshoe theory guy, but anybody who can actually, you know, fire off some brain cells and think cognitively. I mean, this is like the dramatics of Kaiserreich, right? Is that whether you're talking about the socialists up here in Illinois or you're talking about like the AFP in South Carolina, both Huey Long and Jack Reed are speaking to this portion of the population that feels like it's not being taken care of. And so you kind of got to wonder how much is like it's how much are we a product of our environments? Because if you take a kid who's grown up in South Carolina and a kid who's grown up in Illinois, and maybe they're both saying the same thing of, you know, or like they're seeing, I say kid, you know, let's say like a young adult who's looking at the situation and they're saying like, well, these are the things that the government should be doing. Like we need relief for the farmers. We need infrastructure. We need better schools. And they both might want that. But if you ask the South Carolinian or that Illinoisan about the other one, the other person being a member of either the Socialist Party or America First, they hate that person. You know, they're at public enemy number one. Huey's a leftist. He's just not a certainly a pop. The saddest part of the Kaiserreich lore, but it's a bit too horseshoe theory for me. Oh yeah, I mean obviously there's differences. Like I could actually see. Okay, like syndicalism. The syndicalism is an organizational tool. Like the organizational tools are very different. Definitely, you know, the syndicalist format is much more important, obviously, in the CSA. A lot more socially conservative too in the America First. So you'd have to imagine America First is, you know, it's going to be Jim Crow. Nationwide Jim Crow is the goal. And whereas, you know, somebody, if you you know, you're working in Indiana in factories or something, you know, pro integration, essentially. Oh shoot, what is this? No, WinZip, leave me alone. Socialism the system versus socialism the movement. Damn. Yes. I enjoy when people can succinctly say this stuff. He's a radical New Deal Democrat. Yeah. All right. So anyway, this has failed. All that for nothing. So, you know, now, did something move? Was there a shift there? But yeah, now we can see like the Socialist Party is growing. We're in Minnesota. We're in Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Just remember, it's everywhere where this button is in the bottom left. Of course, New York City. So, like, canonically, I believe Jack Reed, who's the head of the party, he's the senator from New York and was a congressman. I mean, the lore always shifts. I'm never always sure. Yeah, still racism issues in the CSA. Oh, yeah, there's institutionalism stuff, but, you know, let's see here. Okay, so now we're going to piss off Canada. Just do it. The United Kingdom incurred an enormous war debt to us during the Weltkrieg that has been inherited by Canada. While it's unlikely Canada could repay it right now, demanding repayment will appease isolationists in Congress, whom we believe will join the political fringe if not appeased. Yeah. Increasing radicalization. With the Democrats and Republicans fighting amongst themselves as usual, more and more Americans are feeling alienated from the traditional Big Two and are flocking to the radical AFP and SPA throughout the country. In these dark times, the distinction between genuine social reform and graft is hard to distinguish. Those under the radical banner in their political enclaves have received some social welfare. Share our wealth donations from the AFP and International Red Aid from the SPA. The party machine of these radicals utilizes mass media to a much stronger degree than either the Republicans or Democrats. It is looking more and more like the 1936 election will come down to Reed or Long. This is really bad. So, and I think this is what happens if you don't form the coalition government. Because it's like instead of the Democrats and Republicans going, hey, we at least believe in the current system. We need to work together right now because we've got people who want to turn the country into syndicalists or a Soviet. And on the other hand, we got this, Huey Long will basically be the king. Like his kid, like we're going to be in a Shakespeare play now and Earl Long is Richard III. It's just, so because they're still bickering with each other, this is going to hurt the stability more. Another minus 15%. And we're just going to see boosts onto all the 6 radical parties, or their branches anyway. Tennessee is going to start turning. South Texas is going to start turning. New Jersey is going to start turning. And Iowa. Oh, man. Socialist Iowa. What is happening? Okay, we got that famine in Sichuan. Yeah. How bad is the effects? Yeah. Minus 200% monthly population. Consumer goods 50%. Yeah, just a lot of bad. Sichuan not doing good. What's up out here? The insurgency's kind of holding on, but unless the Shangqing clique here can push south, I think Nanjing's going to get it. I don't want him to, though. Obviously, they're not going to really, China kind of does its own thing. China's like a mini game almost. It's the world writ small when you run a China game. But yeah, let's check out what's going on in Germany, because this is major. Like this is our enemy number one. Like enemy number one is everybody who's not, there's no war like Civil War. So like the early part of the game is going to be kill fellow Americans to form the CSA, but then later on Germany is where we become the good syndicalist soldier. So I am going to be checking in on them. So Kurt von Schleicher has been appointed Reichskanzler. Elections have been held. Man, German. What a beautiful language. Just, you know what though? Everybody says German's ugly till cute girls whispering, some cute German girls whispering cute German things in your ear. And I think, who's the one who premiered this summer? The Automaton with green hair. I think she's proof of concept. There you go. So the elections have been held in the German Empire after 2 years of failed governments and a stock market crash, which resulted in a worldwide economic collapse. The empowered permanent opposition parties, the SPD and DVLP, gained a large enough share of the vote that another moderate liberal Catholic cabinet is no longer possible. In light of the difficult situation, Kurt von Schleicher has been appointed as a unifying figure. Schleicher is a general of the air and the Prussian Minister of War who accumulated impressive influence in the past few years. Pragmatic to the core, he expressed his wish to work with all parties in the Reichstag to combat the crisis. But he does not shy away from his true goal, a stronger, more centralized and militarized empire. Cecilia! Yeah, gosh, how could I forget? She played the music from Nier in her debut. Yeah. That was cool. It was like how that one guy, what's his name? Regis, he played the cello. Oh, shit. I just knocked something over. Wait, this track kind of sounds like Jupiter by Victus. Okay, yeah, so that's the interesting choice. And let's check in on Canada. Okay, the first combat between America and Canada in this campaign. Two teams have made it into the 1936 Stanley Cup Finals. The Toronto Maple Leafs making their 6th appearance, and the Detroit Red Wings making their second appearance and still hungry to win their first cup. With only a brief interruption at the first game in Detroit, with demonstrations by the Socialist Party of America disrupting proceedings outside the stadium, the series has gone off without a hitch and captivated audiences in both countries. Who will take home the cup this year? Come on, Detroit! Half of Justice's brain rot. Yeah. Justice. She is so... Yeah, her energy. Detroit wins the Stanley Cup! The Detroit Red Wings have swept the Toronto Maple Leafs for the Stanley Cup, giving the Red Wings the Stanley Cup for the first time. The games were held during a time of great unrest, but for a day, the people weren't rioting over political differences. They were rioting over the championship! Stanley is back in Hockey Town! Oh my gosh, and somewhere there's just like, you know, you have those Greek priestesses, you know, huffing the fumes. There's like women huffing car fumes in Detroit, and it's like, yeah, you turn this into like, it's like an adaptation, because it's role play, it's Shakespearean. Okay, so you have like, yeah, you have these women in like some back alley in Detroit, and they're like huffing the fumes, and they're doing like, you know, the kind of limp body dance from 300 amongst the mist, and they're just, and you know, they collapse, and somebody's like, listen to her words, and she's like just whispering, the Red Wing shall fly over Canada, and like, it is a sign. The CSA must invade Canada. Red Wings over Toronto, and it just get weird with it. All right, can't say weird anymore. But I can't say weird. It's politicized. But something like that. Okay, hey, Caden. Okay, can somebody catch him up? Thanks, Travadoraict. Let's see. Why is Stanley Cup an event? Sports are part of culture, man. It's the same as when they do, you know, alternate history, the actresses and stuff, or like, what was the shoot? I don't remember if it's in Kaiserreich or in Red World or something, but there's the one where they didn't do the atomic tests at Bikini Atoll. They did them somewhere else. So the name for like the tiny bathing suit stopped being bikini, and it was something else. It was like Tarawa or something. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, bailout? Ooh, deny that. But wait, no, wait. Black Monday, Shanghai, fallen victim to unscrupulous business practices and possibly insider trading. Oh, that kind of bailout. Okay, no, I thought it was like, are we gonna bail out Sichuan? Because Hoover would totally fund the food for Sichuan. So anyway, no, we're denying that. A bailout? I'm not bailing out my own country. Why'd I bail out your country? What the heck? Damn, these people are stupid for out there. Everybody who's not American is dumb. Like seriously, the Cuban is like, hey, I know you just helped me coup to get your shit back, and I'm not giving it back. Oh, why are you pulling the gun out again? Ugh. Okay, so this is good for us. More Socialist Party of America members are announcing congressional bids. While there have been a number of lawmakers from the Socialist Party of America in the past few decades, particularly in the Steel Belt, the 1936 election has seen an unprecedented number of people registering to run for office under the banner of the Socialist Party of America, and just as many, if not more, nationwide pledging to vote for them. So we're picking up speed in Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. Oh yeah, getting all the Rust Belt. There's a special election in Washington following the death of Senator Wesley Lloyd. A special election has been called in Washington to fill his seat. The frontrunners are SPA activist John F. McKay and Democratic Congressman John Main Coffey. Polls have just closed. John F. McKay, I think, is actually a real-life person. Let me, because they like to do this. Sometimes they'll, yeah, it's McKay because it's a C and a K. Dang. They'll have like even minor historical figures in this. Oh man, that's a lot of people. John F. McKay, sculpture, art, preservation. Here we go. Politicians, great politicians. They're all Canadian though. He doesn't even go here. It's not illegal for a Canadian to be elected to lower office. You don't need to be a citizen to get into Congress. So then which of these John McKays is he? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 John McKay politicians on Wikipedia. And almost all of them are Canadian except for there's one who's from Northern Ireland. So I don't know who this guy is. Then again, that seems very CSA. They would run an immigrant. Anyway, so it's the Socialist Party versus the Democratic Party. Yeah, I think, like, look, the progressives have 9%, the conservatives 8%. Meanwhile, the Socialist Party were at 5, 16, 10. It's definitely more popular at this moment, although it could also use it as the reason why they win. But I feel the especially special election, this is happening right after the bill failed. Or who's Coffee Guy? Yeah, I guess let me check him too. John Main Coffee. He was the historical U.S. rep from Washington, and okay, so in our timeline, actually, he wins this election. This guy, as what party was he? He was a Democrat. Yeah, it says it right there, Democratic Party. So I think this is the perfect example of how you start to have these shatter points in as you know, we keep getting further and further off the trail. And so in this timeline, Coffee did not become the congressman. So let's see what he did in his own lifetime. Introduced a bill to create a permanent federal Bureau of Fine Arts. But it failed. Okay, so wow, this is interesting. Okay, so this dude on August 13th. Is today August 13th? Yeah, it is. Wow, I love when these coincidences happen. So, from reading about this guy, Representative Coffee introduced a bill to create a permanent federal Bureau of Fine Arts with 6 departments: theater, dance, music, literature, graphic, and plastic arts. Oh, graphic and plastic is one. And architecture and decoration is another. Let's see, there was a citizens committee. A similar bill was introduced in the Senate. Frank Lloyd Wright supported the bill. The Fine Arts Federation of New York called the bill an attempt to unionize artists, warned it would sap their creative spirit, and the advent of World War II led to its abandonment. So he basically wanted to create a ministry of culture. So you could be work in acting. Presumably that would eventually be theater/film. Dance. Music. Literature. Graphic and plastic arts kind of seems like just a catch-all term for, when you use mixed media. And then architecture and decoration. Fascinating. So there would be I'm trying to think in the world where that happens. So you know what it would be? I guess that's what the Kennedy Center is, but Kennedy Center is mostly music they focus on, I think. But very interesting. Anyway, John McKay is going to win, so Socialist Party gets stronger. Okay, here we don't have anyone, and you know what? Look, fair is fair. I'm going to have Lindbergh win here because the point is that there's more radicalization happening in the country. So this one's happening in New Jersey. Yeah, Charles Lindbergh will win. The best part of waking up, boom, is John McCain in your Congress. The vote has passed and it'll be implemented, so I guess, yeah, the bailout did happen. Okay, we've got some free civilian factories, so we're just going to continue to just build highways. Everybody loves highways, you know, when they work. We're just going to keep doing that. Yeah, Herbert Hoover is saying, I drew everyone else as a soy jack and myself as a Chad. They already lose. Yeah. Unbeatable strategy. The Chad faces. True story, I once was looking up a Chad face to make a funny picture for a friend, and one of the Chad faces legit looked like him. And I'm like, yeah, I always knew he looked like Chad. Okay, so Panama is pressuring Costa Rica. Still got a shakedown, Canada. Oh, it's May Day, International Workers' Day. I think this is a good place sitting to drop a save point. Gosh, did I say that I wanted to actually make it to the election? Long ways off from that. Okay, May Day. International Workers' Day. This is a holiday that the Socialist Party celebrates with numerous parades and speeches, and has since its founding. Generally, things are peaceful, though there have been confrontations with the police. However, this time things are more violent than normal. Clashes between the socialists and the local police, backed up by the AFP, have occurred around the country. The question is, who is at fault? The socialists declared that things were peaceful till the police and the AFP goons arrived on the scene. The AFP is saying that the socialists began by assaulting ununionized workers and have blurry photos they claim are guns the SPA were brandishing. Realistically, the SPA were at fault, says the chat. Well, what are the effects of each? So if we were to say that the SPA was at fault, syndicalism and national populism would actually both get more popular and the Socialist Party would get stronger. Or we could say that the police were at fault and will lose stability and political power. Probably because the thing is, when you're also, you know, you always got to kiss the police's ass. You know, they get all that funding for a reason, as a percentage of the city municipality's budget, right? And you see, that's the great irony with police is they have strong unions, and here they are beating up the socialists. Yeah, we're playing as Hoover. You're right, Andrew. So he's of course going to say, "Look at what the socialists are doing out there." And I think that this is also really interesting how this is making Minnesota and Iowa more entrenched in socialist control, because I'm wondering if maybe because it doesn't name any specific cities, but presumably these are happening in cities which are leaning socialists, you know, that are leaning syndicalists, because that's the people who are going to go march. Yeah, who's at fault depends on what ideology I'm a partisan supporter of, right? For everything. Ain't that the truth, man? It's like when there's a budget shutdown, well, okay, is there a D or an R next to the person's name? Because that'll depend on if I think it's more on Congress or more on the president, whenever. And then in 4 years, when it's the other way around, I'll say that too. I'll suddenly swap it. So, what's up with the typos today? It happens. So Panama backs down. The Monroe Doctrine stands. Yay, we got 10 political power. Now we're at only minus 133, while being at 12% party popularity nationwide and negative 69% funny Reddit sex number stability. We have 7% war support. Like, so there's 7% of people in the country right now who, if just a war broke out, would go, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm down. Costa Rica wants assistance. What kind of assistance? Crash on the Berlin Stock Exchange, drag the nation into a hole it can't get out of. I'm going to say we have more important matters to attend to. All right. Farmer labor flocks to the SBA. So remember, the Farmer Labor Party at this point is only 4% party popularity, which means that it's even lower than the totalist faction. So you've got people who are just going, Stalin did the right thing, and there's more of them than at this moment in America than people who are going, no, we need to change socialism. We need socialism with bourgeois and characteristics. I don't know. And you know what's so funny? There's so many people who I'm sure have been listening to this campaign, and you know, I'm like, sometimes I'm just literally leading events or pointing out, this is how that works. There's people going, wow, literally happening right now, literally happening in America. You know, it's like when people watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and they're just, wow, that politician is Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Like, you know, they just cast what they want to see on it. When they're like, they're just telling stories. It's just, you know, but I guess that's what art is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a mirror, you know. All right, so spacing out. See how it is. We are at the 2-hour mark. I think I'm gonna go a little further. Maybe let's at least try to get to the 4th of July. Maybe go holiday to holiday, because we ended the last one on Valentine's Day. Yeah. So go Valentine's Day to 4th of July. Holy May. Anyway, the Farmer Labor Party, Minnesota, which has long been a bastion of the Farmer Labor Governor Floyd Olson, has finally flipped. Many people are turning away from Governor Olson in the direction of the IWW and SBA. Various unions have held rallies for the SBA, and attendance far outstrips our ability to outshout them. Is it something in the water? So, Social Democracy minus 3%, and then all the lefter ones also shoot up. Hoover's completely clueless, right? Yeah, Hoover's just getting word like, you know how Minnesota is got like those really populist leftists, the Farmer Labor Party that like just own that state, and it's weird because like it's out of touch. There's people now to the left of them, and the Farmer Labor have been kicked out of Minnesota, essentially. And he's just, gotta be those 10,000 lakes or something. That's wild. And then goes back to, what is he doing all day? Listening to City Pop in the. That's a reference for what campaign was that? We were joking about Hoover listening to City Pop. I feel like that was must have been a Kaiserite campaign. Probably was like a redo. I think we invaded Japan at one point. Okay, we finished up our basic machine tools, so our production efficiency cap is. So I think I now want to immediately pivot it into dispersed industry. Actually, concentrated. This actually might be one of the exceedingly rare times I do concentrated. No, you know what? I'm not. Because, so here's the difference. Either way, we're going to get 20% more max factories in a state. If I went concentrated, like, let's not worry about the dockyards, but for now, but like just the factories, because that's going to be important because I'm not really a Navy guy. We'll get 15% output. Here, we would only get 10% output, but our production efficiency retention and our production efficiency base are also both going to improve. What essentially that means is that as the new technologies are coming online, and I hope to be technologically advanced, like have the better guns, the better piercing and stuff, that it's kind of more worth it in the end. Now, the factory bomb vulnerability minus 15%, it's I don't think really going to be relevant post Civil War. Even during the Civil War, there's not much in the way of air forces, so bombing is not really an issue. One of these days I should just go full blown concentrated, but it's such a. I feel like you need to be such specific circumstances a lot of the time. Yeah. And like the gap will widen the further down you go, but I still don't think it's worth it. So we're gonna do dispersed. Okay, so we're demanding war payment. Okay, so we are market liberals, right? And we're playing as Hoover. So what we're going to try to now do is we're going to pass the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act for when they refuse to pay debts. And so we got to pass a punitive tariff on them. This will put money in our coffers, but repairing relations with Canada will take a long time. But this is going to give me 100 political power, and it's going to make the Republicans a bit more popular here at going into the election. So yeah, Canada refuses. So yeah, so be it. I think actually technically I didn't have a choice. They would have to. Oh, they would have to like say they wanted to do that. But so yeah, the play is like, look, Hoover's like, well, I'm not gonna do anything to actually help y'all, but I'll slap some tariffs on Canada, huh? Legation Council votes on providing aid to Sichuan province. The southern Chinese province of Sichuan is currently experiencing a terrible famine and is struggling to save its people. They've requested that the Legation Council authorize the legation cities to help them open up new sources of grain until the land can recover. Many experts on Chinese politics, however, warn the money we send for famine relief could just go directly into Sichuan warlords' pockets. I think definitely we approve this motion. Hoover absolutely would. Like Hoover sent food to the communists, the Bolsheviks, during the Russian Civil War. He doesn't care about the ideology. Have ever gone down a narrow focus tree? Yeah, my time, but I usually just don't. If it's too narrow, what do you define by narrow? Because sometimes you have focus trees. Equestria War, I know, definitely does this where it's kind of a narrow, straightforward tree for a while, and it's kind of counting your day. You're just like counting 56 days at a time or whatever. I mean, just because a focus tree is narrow doesn't mean that it can't be interesting. Okay, so Carles, control of Argentina, death of Big Bill Haywood, one of the titans of the industrial workers of the world. William Big Bill Haywood has passed away. His death marks the passing of a torch. Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, yeah, the rebel girl, literally named Gurley, spoke like who wrote this script? It's like, wait, you're telling me the bad guy's name is Hitler, and his sidekick's name is Himmler? All right. So it's like, wait, so Gurley Flynn is the rebel girl. All right. Spoke at the funeral saying, history has a long-range perspective. It ultimately passes stern judgment on tyrants and vindicates those who fought, suffered, were imprisoned, and died for human freedom against political oppression and economic slavery. Many other, the DM's making up names on the fly. Many other, and that's what these alerts are. This is the dungeon master telling you, it's like, this is the consequences, or like, this is random encounter. Yeah, this is definitely like he rolled. It's like, yeah, William Big Bill Haywood has failed his death save. Many other leaders within various union organizations, including his rivals in the AFL, also spoke at his funeral, as well as leaders within the Socialist Party of America. Jack Reed also spoke at the funeral, ending his speech with some of Haywood's quotes. If the workers are organized, all they have to do is put their hands in their pockets, and they have got the capitalist class whipped. A strike is an incipient revolution. Many large revolutions have grown out of a small strike. Remember that you are fighting more than your own fight. You are fighting for the entire working class, and you must stand together. I already miss him. Change in popularity of syndicalism, 3%. So getting that death wave in of popularity. Alright, so the Unching clique was annexed. That basically always happens. They're in a tough spot. Oh, whoa, yeah, I just saw Chengchin. They're moving south. Whoa. Nanjing here actually might be in a little bit of trouble. Okay, Southern Democratic voters are aligning with the AFP. What's devious conmen? So social conservatism is, yeah, so just like how the Farmer Labor Party is pivoting into socialism and syndicalism, the conservatives are just pivoting right now. So and we're Hoover just here in the middle trying to hold on. Hey, the vote passed. So like we're just holding on to this 14%, but just the syndicalists and national populist branches of America First by themselves are at 21 each. Yeah, Herbert Hoover right now is Flanders' beatnik parents going, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas, man. Okay, so the Australasian Guard coup just happened. So the Nat Pops defeated the Syndicalists. Not good. Hoover's the Buchanan of the Second American Civil War. That's right on the money. Yeah. Shocking news from the Republic of Australasia as the Australasian Guard, a group of right-wing authoritarians who have long criticized the Australasian government for not going far enough in its suppression of syndicalism, and who lost in their recent electoral bid by a fair margin, have seized control of the government. Led by Field Marshal Thomas Blamey, the new government immediately proposed that the Republic of Australasia would do whatever it took to stamp out syndicalism within Australasia. Blarney also stated Australasia would dedicate itself fully to the Entente Alliance as a proud and loyal member of the British Empire. Demonstrations have already broken out across the nation, and thus Australasia faces an uncertain and unlikely unstable future. How unexpected. Indeed. Heat wave! Heat wave has struck the people are like, well, at least it's a nice summer. Heat wave! A heat wave has struck the continental United States and Canada. The most severe heat wave in the I really should be doing these first. Okay, so again, it's the Dungeon Master. He goes, boom! You rolled bad on a Constitution or something. It went up over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, as drought conditions worsened due to a continued lack of rain. Now, in July, the heat has reached all-time records. In Steele, North Dakota, temperatures have reached 121 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius, so halfway to boiling point. In Ohio, temperatures have reached 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius, which was close to tying a record high set in 1934. This comes in a time of major political unrest, with the America First Council a major force in Midwest politics and socialist and syndicalist forces gathering strength in the Great Lakes region. The drought is continuing and over 3,000 reported deaths have been linked to it. Many people are suffering from heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Farmers across the nation saw their worst harvest on record, causing corn and wheat prices to skyrocket. And this heat wave does not seem to be giving up anytime soon. This just isn't our year. Man, when you can't get bread, when you can't get corn, in America, as Cersei's Fauna said, you know, like, do you know what corn is in America? When you go down to America, everything's made of corn. Your clothes are made of corn. You eat corn. Your shoes are corn. Your wife is made of corn. You're made of corn. Your dreams are corn. And that is expensive? Man, even with current American price, at least where I live, it's like nobody's paying. Like when the harvest comes, that corn's gonna be 50 cents each tops, or there's gonna be problems. Man, I remember there was a year I was able to get some corn. They were selling corn for 25 cents each, and just eating corn all the time. Yeah, I remember a quote saying, any nation is 5 bad days away from collapse. Yeah, there's like 5 days. 9 meals is the one I'll hear. It's like you miss 9 meals as a nation and it's over. So yeah, the people are definitely stretching that out. A lot less meat getting eaten. If you are eating meat, you're stretching that meat. Something I've been doing to stretch my meat is I don't like to eat beef much because, you know, the prices. I'm much more of a chicken guy. But I've got this one beef recipe I do. I'll actually cook it in some wine. And some people are like, how's wine cheap? And just get the jug. You know, if you're cooking wine for cooking, that's cheap. And it can like, you'll feel fuller. You'll definitely feel it. Like, at least I do when I like make spaghetti with it or make beef with it. But I'll do wine, and I'll also put oats in it, and it kind of, yeah, fills it out. The beer can stew. I've actually never done that. I've never done the beer can stew. I've never done the beer can turkey. I guess we're doing War Plan White. Military plan to deal with domestic violence or an insurgency. Time to dust it off. Yeah, it's a Hoover, you're at 19% popularity, which ties just the syndicalist branch alone, and also America First. We might need to think about something else. Yeah, coup in Thailand, it must be Tuesday. Alright, so we've got some more alerts here. We have a decision that's available to us here. This is sending troops to legation cities. We're definitely not going to be doing that. So we finished researching the heavy tank chassis, so we're not going to be able to improve that for about 4 years. So we're just going to put that completely out of our minds. But I think I will at least... Do I want the basic? No, I need to be thinking about stuff that's going to be helpful during the war later. I'm still so torn when it comes to radio. Do I take it like it's going to help them if I take it now? I think I'd rather just start with it. Yeah, so let's get the radio up. In the radio zone. I'm debating if I want to sneak in MPs for my garrisons. Yeah, we're gonna sneak that in. Yeah, heavy tanks with riveted armor. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, we're not going to use the heavy tanks in the Civil War. This is post-war. The heavy tank is going to be our Manhattan Project for the war. Like, we'll maybe churn out a couple heavy tanks right at the end. Like 5 tanks will roll into San Francisco in a parade. That's all they're there for. Red Summer. The summer heat has turned into violence and blood as cities, starting with Charleston, South Carolina, throughout the city engaged in bloody racial riots as whites beat up blacks and burned black businesses. The summer of lynchings that occurred throughout the country spiked during the summer. In response, the African Blood Brotherhood and other elements of the Socialist Party of America and CSA have begun arming and fighting back. The Socialist Party of America have defended their actions and have furnished blurry photos they claim show AFP members in lynch mobs. Can this year get any worse? So another minus 10% stability. Oh, it never ends. We're at minus net 94%. Negative 90. Oh yeah, negative 91. But hey, Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind. Oh, actually, I have a Gone with the Wind thing. I'll be right back. This is, what All right, I'm back. I wish I had a hand cam or something. Um, but yeah, so as you guys know, I think I've mentioned this in the past. You know, I'm a record. I like to correct records, but I'm cheap. You know, I just when I sometimes see interesting stuff, I'll get it. And a friend of mine has got an eye for that too, and he found me at a dollar sale a Gone with the Wind soundtrack on vinyl, the music by Max Steiner, and it's got like a booklet, like it's all raggedy, but it's the booklet inside is clean, so like it has all these pictures and it's talking about like the making of the movie. So like I'll read the opening part. It says, Gone with the Wind burst upon the movie world in 1939 amid the claims that it was the greatest motion picture ever made. Indeed, it was the longest movie that had ever been released, and it had received more publicity than any other, particularly with the search for Scarlett O'Hara. Could any motion picture live up to such advanced billing? Astonishingly, Gone with the Wind did. The dramatization of the Margaret Mitchell novel broke records in virtually every engagement, although in some areas of the world its release would have to wait for the end of World War II. The film became a part of the national folklore and mirrored to the world America's greatest agony, the war between the Union and the Confederacy. And so now, to a new generation and others who remember it in their movie-going past, Gone with the Wind is released again. So it's, and then, yeah, it just has like a whole thing. Hit Gone with the Wind. It certainly isn't for everybody. It's at this point, it's a history piece. You know, as the culture shifts over time, it's gonna just be seen as like a placeholder. And I mean in any kind of political future, incidentally, liberal, conservative, paternal, autocratic, fascist, communist. It's going to always be talked about, I think, as a cultural moment in American history. So anyway, she published her novel, became a bestseller, nominated for a Pulitzer. Hollywood's taking notice. There's a film adaptation set in the Old South during the American Civil War. Many see it as an analogy for the strained political situation in the United States. Many America First Southerners claim the novel supports their cause. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. So, see, I have not read Zhang Zongshan. I don't think so. Hoover explaining how if they get to negative 100%, the integer overflow will make them hit 100% a few days later, saving the nation. Yeah. Yeah. That's science. Oh, it's the 4th of July. Cool. So I said we'd at least get here. What time is it? I think that is going to be it for me. Will I stream again today? Do not plan on me streaming again today, is what I'll say. But I definitely will tomorrow. So let's just do this 4th of July event and stop. America had a brief period of calm today with a mostly peaceful Independence Day celebration commemorating the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776 by the Second Continental Congress on the eve of the American Revolutionary War. The holiday is one of great importance to the American people. While many were worried that the rising tensions in America would result in yet another bout of violence in the long and brutal election season, most sighed a breath of relief today as the news reported little brewing during the annual celebration. While all the major candidates made sure to be seen and photographed among the large crowds and delivered speeches connecting their respective causes to the situation in 1776, most Americans took the time to take a break from the intense politics plaguing America. Instead, they decided to just spend time with their families and friends amidst picnics and fireworks. It would seem for a brief moment that America had finally received something it had lacked for a very long time. Unity. A respite from the chaos. You know, the 4th of July, it's the day in America where everyone goes, today we are all grillers. You know, Ich bin ein Grillers! And then So as you guys know, there was that recent Trump assassination. And it wasn't on the 4th of July attempt, I should say. Attempt! But he goes, CHG believes there was a body swap. Oh my god. But yeah, plus 5 political power. We're at 65, and we need like 100 to do anything. But calls Craig through your videos. Go watch and see you next time. Time's over. Really. Yeah, take care. The Pebble Institution. But yeah, a friend of mine, he pulled it up on his phone. It happening, and we were just like, okay, he's dead. No. Then after the fun time we're supposed to be having right now, let's check in. It could wait a couple hours. But anyway, I'm gonna call it a night there, or day, so I can take care of some other stuff. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time as we continue on the graduation campaign. Bye-bye.